I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.
Alright, I'll admit it. I might have been a little bit wrong about Gemini. So we just had a KC Cup, and as part of the KC Cup, we had multiple people manage to get top 100 playing Gemini, which is really cool to see, considering before this, Gemini wasn't really played that much whatsoever, and what makes this even cooler is yesterday, Konami decided to drop a deck build box, and as part of the deck build box, we got the missing piece for Gemini, the Spell and Trap card searcher, which means we can now try out builds utilizing things like the Gemini counter trap card and making use of things like Spark more efficiently, which is exactly what I've done today. So without further ado, let's go check it out. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get to the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see some more content just like this in the future, or more deck lists just like this in the future, please remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Alright, let's jump into this deck list. So first things first, let's check out the skill. The skill is called Phoenix Rising. What it does is basically allows you to reveal a Gemini monster in hand, or your Gemini trap card, in order to place a Gemini trap card face up on the field from your deck or from your hand. And if you place it from your hand, you also get to search your deck for a Fire Warrior monster. So this trap card is basically what makes the deck function. This card, when it's face up on the field, can just special summon a Gemini monster from your deck and make it an effect monster straight away, which is absolutely perfect, because otherwise, well, Gemini's a bunch of normal monsters, so a really useful first effect, and the second effect allows you to tribute a Gemini monster, and if you do, summon a Fire Warrior monster straight from your deck, and if you tributed a Gemini monster that had its effect, you can basically just pop a card on the field. But do keep in mind, you can only use one of these effects per turn. Alright, the skill has a second effect, which allows you, if your opponent controls a card and you control nothing, to simply just add a copy of Double Summon to your hand, and a copy of Gemini Spark. Double Summon, again, another way to get Gemini monsters on the field and use their effects, or just make a rank 4 or something. And of course, Gemini Spark, a card that can tribute a Gemini on field to pop a card in the field and draw a card. All in all, without the skill, this deck just wouldn't function, so yeah, this trap card's really good. Last thing I forgot to mention about the skill is it also places a copy of Phoenix Gearblade straight to your graveyard, which is obviously perfect when we're playing 3 copies of Gearfried, and the skill could potentially search for it. Obviously, special summons itself by banishing the equip spell adds itself back to hand, you can then equip the equip spell to the Gearfried, and you have a negate for your opponent's turn. Alright, moving on to the actual Gemini cards themselves, and honestly, they're all relatively simple, so we can kind of speedrun this. This card, basically when it's special summoned to the field, searches for a Gemini Spell and Trap card. We have your Valkyria. This card can place a token on itself to destroy a monster on field. We have your Chevalier. This card when on field can remove your equip spells to destroy one of your opponent's cards. We have your Eve or Egg, or I have absolutely no clue how to pronounce this. This thing when summoned to the field, it summons a Fire Warrior monster from your graveyard. Then we have your Quick Play spell, which I've already mentioned before. Pops one of your Geminis, pops a card on the field, you draw a card. We have your Trap card, which we've already gone through. And we have your Gemini counter, which this card, when you have a Gemini monster on field, you can flip it face down to negate a spell card your opponent tries to activate. And that's basically it for the deck list. Everything else in here you'll see during the gameplay anyway, so without further ado, let's get into some gameplay. Alright, today I've got 5 replays to share with you guys, and I get to show them to you using the brand new replay select menu thing they've got going on here, which thank God they did this, because in the past there's been multiple videos where I've accidentally clicked on the same replay twice and had to edit it out and post, because it was really hard to differentiate which replays was which just from names. So now we can actually see which replay is which, and yeah, thank God they actually did this. Alright, let's jump into these replays. So I try to gather some replays against some of the more top tier sort of decks, and you get a good idea of just how good this deck list can be. But do keep in mind, I do think this deck is probably still a little bit worse than things like Salad and Hero, if they open their like full god hands, because you can set up things like Abyss Dweller against Salad, which is really strong against that art type, and against Hero, if they don't open a hand of just True or Back Row with Surpol, your Effect Veiler in hand, the dude on field that flips things, if they don't open just absolutely everything, you probably have a good chance against them. As you'll see in a lot of these replays, I do manage to beat Hero, and obviously during the KC Cup we had multiple people in top 100, which would have had to beat Hero at some point, so I do think it can beat Hero and it can beat Salad, which is just a really good sign for the deck, but I do think it's probably not necessarily favoured against them, at least in my opinion. Alright, that's a sort of the idea I got from it at least. Alright. So, hero player doing typical hero things and be drawing a bunch of cards. We'll fast forward him because you've seen all this before. Probably a billion times. Alright, ending on 2 back row and a Kluger. So a bit of a weaker end field for hero, which is good for us. Alright, so keep in mind when using the skill, if you want to use the second effect of the skill, make sure to use it first, because if you use the first effect, it places a trap card on field, which then prevents you using the second effect, so make sure to add the cards to hand first. Alright, normal summon your cards by Gemini Spark, pop back row, hopefully hitting the Sewer Poly, which we saw him set earlier, because he placed it basically instantly, so we knew which card it was. He placed it before drawing the cards, I'm pretty sure, just as soon as he got it in hand. Alright. Summoning 2 dudes to the field, making sure to use the trap card to do it, so I can just summon back a card from graveyard. These 2 can now make a Phoenix. Phoenix discarding a card to pop the final back row. Gets failed, which is completely fine by me. Alright, using the double summon. I noticed at this point, by the way, as soon as he double summon, this card wasn't even activatable and he wasn't usable, so it's like, oh, he probably actually doesn't have anything. So I normal summon my dude, use my Gear Free to summon itself. And just banking on this being like just some sort of bait card, summoning Gear Free, popping a card, and something I forgot to mention during the deck list portion, Gear Blade has another effect where once you attack with your card, you can send it to the graveyard, and all your Fire Warrior monsters can attack a second time during that turn. So, very, very good, very strong way to OTK your opponent. Yeah, he's just dead on field. Alright, 4 more replays to go. So the next one was Shaddoll. And this is a showcase that you can just set up Abyss Dweller against graveyard matchups and just have a really good time against them. Because Shaddoll, it's not playing through an Abyss Dweller very easily. Alright. So they're going to be using the skill, revealing the trap card. This gives me a search from the deck, grabbing your Gold Knight. Discarding the Gold Knight, summon your, whatever this card's name is, which can then summon back the Gold Knight. We haven't used our normal summon yet. Re-normal summoning the Gold Knight so we can get a search. Making the Abyss Dweller. Gear Free going to be summoning itself to the field to grab the Gear Blade. And passing the turn. So using our Abyss Dweller instantly, he has Shaddoll Fusion. We don't really care too much. Instantly summoning a copy of one of these to the field. That way I can use the Gemini Spark whenever I want to pop a card. Also, this card, because it was summoned via the trap card, can also summon back the discarded Shien to the field. Which is not the normal use of Shien. Shien's normally summoned from the trap card itself, which is why it's in the deck list, because it's a Fire Warrior monster, but sometimes you can do annoying stuff like this, which is kind of funny. Alright, our opponent's going to make a Maiden. Invocation. Keep in mind, because we have this card on the field, this card makes it so our opponent can only use 1 spell card a turn, so he's also used his only spell card this turn. Shien's a little bit weird though, it only counts spell cards activated after it, so keep that in mind. Gemini Spark, popping a card in the field, he didn't have a spell card to negate that, which is nice. Alright, effect failed on my Gear Free for some reason. Valkyria can pop a card on field, force out his negate. Abyss Dweller, so we can't use the Shaddoll he sends to graveyard. Now we can just beat over it and just smack him in the face. And of course, give all my dudes 2 attacks for the turn as well. Alright. So that's an example of just making Abyss Dweller versus graveyard stuff. Because we have got a decent little rank 4 toolbox in this, which is obviously fantastic. Rank 4 cards are typically fairly strong. One thing I have no clue why we don't have the rank 4 card I keep forgetting the name of, that can pop back row, just easily just attach a card, pop back row. It feels so weird. Someone in the comments probably knows the name of it, but it feels weird that we don't have it yet, because it's still one of the things that's actually missing from the toolbox is just easy access to back row removal, without just going to like a Nightmare Phoenix or something. It'd be nice to make a rank 4 so we'd have to discard a card. Alright, up against Hero once again. So one very important thing to note in this matchup that I didn't know beforehand is this stupid card can't change its battle, you can't take control of it. So your Gear Freed can't steal this thing. This card's actually really annoying. Alright. At least I assume that's what was going on with it, because I wasn't able to steal it with Gear Freed. Alright, so again, a hero matchup where the hero play didn't open absolute god hand, thank god. Gemini Spark, pop a card on the field, decide not to bank or try and hit Super Poly because we didn't even have a hero on field to use with it anyway. So we're just going to get rid of this so we can protect our trap card. Alright, Aberration, summon the card to field, special summon back the Shogun, he's going to negate it. Completely fine, because we still have double summon. Double summon can summon 2 cards to the field, or to summon 1. Oh yeah, this was more of a brickier hand too, because we... Unfortunately, there is a slightly higher brick chance than your average deck, because most decks like to have 7 sort of your good starters, whereas this deck, it does have plenty of starters, but to get hold of Gear Freed, there's only 3 Gear Freed and 3 of the Trap, which is only 6. So you have a, I think it's like a 78% chance or something of opening a Gear Freed or the Trap card, which is slightly lower than I like it to be. So unfortunately, if you don't open Gear Freed, it can feel pretty bad, which is what sort of happened here. Alright. So opponent's got the Polymerization, he's going to Super Poly a card on the field, making the Nova Master. Tributing my card to pop a card on the field. Chalice being used. We can Gemini counter to negate that, of course. And from here, we're in a pretty good position. Because we can just normal summon this, summon back a card from graveyard, tribute this, pop a card, summon out your Gear Freed, and our opponent is now very, very dead. But yeah, this was one of the, an example of more of the potentially brickier hands this deck has. I think I'm doing a lot of raving on in this video. Alright, moving on to the Nekroz matchup. Alright. So I'm not sure if this guy actually got to use any of the new Nekroz stuff yet. Which I will hopefully do a video on tomorrow. At least I'll try to. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Because Nekroz seems like a deck that's going to be kind of hard for me to build. So we'll see how that goes. This guy's using a Fluor variation. Which to be fair, the Fluor variation's already pretty much solved it at this point. So maybe it ends up being a Fluor deck, who knows. Has got a new skill though, so hopefully we can use that. Alright, Aberration, and once again summoning the dude, searching for the trap card, normal summoning, there's your end field. Alright. Not going to be negating that, I'm just going to let him search for his stuff. Makes a charge warrior. We just got to hold our negates, because there's no real reason to use it on this stuff. Let him summon out whatever he wants to summon, and we'll just negate that. Sun's Black Crows, now we'll pop it. Alright, Gearblade adds itself back to hand. He's going to use Kolzalis, search for a spell card. We have a negate for that. And I'm pretty sure this version of the deck list only has like three ritual spells in it, and 2 of them are the exact same, so it's not likely he has another one on hand. It's pretty low chance. So we're just going to negate this one, and that's probably his turn done. Alright, I don't think we've used the pop yet from this either, so we've still got 1 lot of removal if he does have something to summon. Yeah, he just searches for his Valkyries to pass the turn. And from here, it's a pretty relatively easy turn. Just going to equip this, making it Abyss Dweller because why not, because we can summon another card from deck anyway. Summon the Shogun, because again, why not? Detaching, swinging in, can negate the Valkyries, and give all our dudes multiple attacks. Actually, sorry, we had to negate, so we didn't get to give multiple attacks. But it's fine, he's still just dead on the field. Alright, replay number 3, which I believe is against Mirror Match. I think this guy was playing the Infernoble stuff, which is probably going to be the more popular way to do it. I didn't want to play Infernoble today, I wanted to just try out a pure Gemini sort of list, but I think Infernoble might be the better way to play it. I do highly encourage you to check out some of the more Infernoble-sided lists of this. But I want to see a more Gemini pure deck today, which is what I want to show off. Especially for people that are sort of just going into the deck build box and just going into the previous box. I don't think the Infernoble stuff's in either of them, so it might feel pretty bad if they don't own it already. Might be in the deck build box, I haven't checked really. Alright, so our opponent's doing a whole lot of Infernoble-y sort of stuff. I think it's a little bit scummy, this sort of way they did the Gemini release, where they release the Gemini cards, Then they made a deck build box with the Gemini stuff, just one Gemini card sort of in it, or the one, not including the new stuff, obviously, because it kind of meant that deck build boxes to me are supposed to be deck build boxes where you can build entire decks from one box. Feels kind of bad when you have to be going to two boxes for one deck, which is sort of defeats the purpose of a deck build box, but whatever. Alright, so once again, normal summoning. He's got a Gearfried on... Oh, sorry, he's got Emperor Charles on field. But luckily, he didn't open the Gearfried, so his hand was considerably worse without it. So we can just potentially pop a card on field. I'm just going to save the Gemini Spark for as soon as he tries to use the Ablation, because without Ablation, his deck is going to suck infinitely more. So just basically just save this for as soon as he tries to use this thing's effect, because it's continuous, we can basically sort of negate it. Don't really care too much about Charles. If you want to pop a card on the field, go ahead. Alright, obviously they're going to use this in response though, so he doesn't have an opportunity to pop it. And he just concedes. He tries to use Charles' effect to pop a card in the field. Doesn't really matter, because if he does, I'm just going to summon it back anyway from this dude's effect, I think, or something. Either way, I'm just going to use my quick play spell to pop his card in field, and he was in a very, very rough spot from there. We hadn't even used double summon yet. We didn't have anything to really summon, but yeah. Alright, moving on to our final replay, a Salad player. Alright, so Salad, I think, I'm not certain what the best way to sort of set up against this deck is, but I'm pretty sure you just make Abyss Dweller, because Abyss Dweller is really good versus this art type. Could be wrong on that, but I think that's sort of the game plan. So we're just going to Phoenix Rising, get our dude on field. It's kind of nice to summon your Gearfried first most of the time, because that way you're safer to hand traps. I think I forget to do that here, but I think that's generally the better way to do it. So you negate things like Effect Veilers or Crows if you want to. Here we're just going to make an Abyss Dweller. Gearfried summon itself. Not going to worry about searching for a Spell and Trap card because, well, I prefer to have Abyss Dweller with a dude on field with the Trap card live. We have an Effect Veiler in hand. Effect Veiler is a bit weird in this deck. I'm not super confident this is actually that great. It feels good going first, or going second, obviously, but going first, a lot of the time if you use your entire hand, you just don't have a discard for this. But, I don't know. Not sure about Effect Veiler. It's certainly not very good if you've got... Because a lot of the time you just fill up your 3 zones, so you can't play actual back row, but I don't know. So hand traps theoretically are good in this, because you fill up your back row a lot of the time, so you still have the Gemini counter trap here. Cross Swipe, which is really good because it removes my Gearfried. Using the Bailings. Bailing's going to be searching, summoning the Gazelle. Just going to hold the shit out of these 2 disruptions for as soon as he tries to go into one of the bigger guys. Oh, this card's a Destroy effect. It's not even very good versus Bailings anyway. It's Destroy anyway. Alright, popping this card because we can, because he tried to go do our battle phase. Had Life Barrier, going to be discarding, that's fine, because we can now tribute to summon our dude, pop a card in field, swing in. I think I played this the end of this turn, this turn in particular, a little bit bad. I don't think I should have used so many resources into the, yeah, I probably should just left this thing on field and maybe kept a card in hand, so I could have, I don't know, done something. Because ending this turn without a card in hand feels pretty bad, even with a negate on field. I also had to use my Gearfried because he tripped off his own monster, which is kind of cool. Either way, that's just an example against Salad, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I'll try and get out a Nekroz video tomorrow, maybe, so look forward to that. Also, I have a story video that's already been recorded. I just need to edit the video, so that'll be out some point this week as well. Look forward to that. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.